Financials.
Tell him we going for Canelo next.
Yes. Let's
him.
go. Canelo, come on.
You heard it from him.
However, there's a catch. A leak hinted at a possible issue with Canelo's financial demands. He said, "If Canelo is crazy with his demands,
Terence
I'll
Crawford,
still
with that
guarantee
intense
Crawford
gaze of
any
his,
fight he wants."
throws down the gauntlet at Gervonta Tank.
A leak made it clear that while he is fully committed to making the fight happen, he won't let Canelo's high financial demands stop Crawford from getting a big payday. Now that this is sorted out, we might see a fight between Canelo and Crawford soon. What do you think? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. See you in the next one. Interestingly, Canelo has shown he's willing to take criticism if it means getting the right fight. His recent decision to fight Edgar Berlanga, someone many felt didn't deserve the chance, got negative reactions from fans. But Canelo moved forward, knowing that if the business side made sense, he could handle the criticism. The same applies to a fight with Crawford. Even though Crawford is smaller and has less experience at higher weights, his undefeated record and future Hall of Fame status would bring enough respect and excitement.
He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. No, Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but like I say, he's weight classes for a
excitement to make the fight a big success. In many ways, Canelo and Crawford need each other to make the biggest fight possible. Both are getting closer to the end of their careers and have already achieved a lot in the sport. But neither fighter seems very interested in facing younger, hungry challengers in their own divisions.
Canelo, on the other
For Crawford, that means avoiding dangerous welterweights like WBC interim super welterweight champion Virgil Ortiz Jr. and IBF champion Jaron Boots Ennis. While these fights would help his resume, they don't offer the same financial rewards or legacy-making opportunities as fighting. Canelo Crawford, who will turn 37 in September, understands the business side of boxing as well as Canelo. He knows that fighting Canelo could earn him a huge payday. Crawford is aiming for a huge payday.
Teofimo first, and then we'll see, right? At the end of the day, like I said before, I'm not asking for that fight. They want to make that fight because it's a payday, obviously. But I don't want that fight. I think.
But teaming up with a leak makes the fight with Canelo even more likely from a financial perspective. Instead of taking risks with younger, dangerous opponents like Ortiz or Ennis, Crawford seems ready to bet it all against a bigger, stronger fighter like Canelo. Some people have criticized Crawford, saying he's chasing money instead of greatness and looking for an easier route to a big paycheck. But Crawford isn't apologizing. He's made it clear that at this point in his career, he's after the biggest challenges and the biggest paydays. And Canelo offers both. After Canelo's recent fight, Crawford took to social media and posted a simple but bold message. "Put me in the game, coach." This was a direct message signaling his readiness to fight Canelo, the current king of the super middleweight division. Crawford has been eyeing Canelo for a while, but his social media post feels like a serious push to make the fight happen. With an unbeaten record, Crawford is a 4-division world champion and one of the top pound-for-pound fighters. However, fighting Canelo, who competes 2 weight classes above him at 168 lbs, would mean Crawford has to move up significantly. Something very difficult, but if he wins, it could make his legacy. Alik, who has become a major player in boxing, has added fuel to the fire. After Crawford's recent win, Alex said he's ready to offer Canelo what he thinks is a fair price to make the fight happen. According to ESPN's Mike Coppinger, Alex said, "I will give Canelo what I think is a fair price if he takes it. He deals directly with me to finish the deal. I promised Crawford a big fight. I want Canelo for Crawford, and Crawford wants Canelo." Alex's comments show how committed he is to making this blockbuster fight happen.
across town put out an open challenge to you on the internet with Turkey Al-Sheikh calling you out. What's your response to Terence Crawford's call out tonight?
No comment.
He's also willing to negotiate directly with Canelo, skipping any middlemen. This direct approach could help speed up the process and avoid the usual complications in boxing contracts. Right now, the fight hasn't been officially announced, but with the money looking good and Canelo finally open to the idea, everything seems to be moving toward making it happen.
Canelo, a legend recognizes another young beast. Well done, well done. On both these.
Both fighters are interested, and the financial details are coming together. It seems like only a matter of time before this historic fight is confirmed. Canelo has made it clear that he will only accept the fight if the financial terms are right. However, with growing interest from fans, the media, and promoters, it's
realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you're still pursuing it?
Not at all. I think business talk.
likely that a deal will be made soon. As Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez get closer to this blockbuster fight, the discussion continues about both the risks and rewards of such a big matchup. Like Canelo, Crawford has had great success in boxing. He has won titles in 4 different...
I heard him say, I'm easy work. If I was easy work, you would take all that money that he's offering you. But yet and still, he want $200 million for Benavidez, and he want $150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to his...
Canelo's different weight classes and is considered one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. However, facing Canelo for his super middleweight titles would be a huge challenge for Crawford. He would have to move up 2 weight classes, which is a big jump for any boxer. It's an even bigger challenge for Crawford, who has only...
About me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. So let's not.
Fought once above the welterweight limit of 147 lbs. His only fight at 154 lbs was against Uzbekistan's Israil Madrimov on August 3rd in Los Angeles, where he won by unanimous decision. However, his cautious and strategic approach in that fight raised questions about whether he could handle an even bigger jump to face Canelo at 168 lbs. The big question is whether Crawford can handle the size, strength, and power of top fighters in higher weight classes. This makes the potential fight between Crawford and Canelo even more interesting. Canelo has also expressed concerns that if he beats Crawford, people won't give him the credit he deserves. Even though Crawford has an undefeated record of 41 wins with 31 knockouts, Canelo believes people will focus on the fact that Crawford is
sensational. Artur Beterbiev versus Dimitri Bivol.
Naturally a smaller fighter. Canelo has said that beating Crawford wouldn't be seen as impressive as defeating a true super middleweight contender like David Benavidez. However, despite saying that, Canelo still hasn't fought Benavidez. The size difference is also why Canelo is reportedly asking for a 9-figure payday, over $100 million, to fight Crawford. Such a huge financial demand shows the risks for Canelo. He would be expected to win, but if he loses, it could hurt his reputation.
Crawford, with that
Even
intense gaze
wins,
of his,
critics
throws
might
down the
downplay
gauntlet
his
at
victory
Gervonta
because
Tank
Crawford is
Davis.
smaller
It
and
was
has little
pure
experience
fireworks.
in higher weight
Crawford
classes.
didn't waste a breath.
Still,
he wanted
despite
Davis in the
weight
ring.
difference,
And the
this fight has
anticipation
captured
building?
the interest of fans
Picture the
and
chaos
media.
that could unfold.
It would be a
But hold on.
battle
Let me walk
between
you
two
through
of
it
the
step
best
by step.
pound-for-pound fighters in boxing.
In a press conference that felt like a heavyweight
Both
title
fighters
match
are
in
looking to
itself,
secure their
Crawford
legacy
locks
in
eyes with
boxing.
Davis, potential
Despite the
blockbuster
challenges,
matchup that has
Crawford
the
remains
boxing
the
world
most
on the edge of
exciting
its
option
collective
for
seat.
Canelo, especially
Since
if Canelo
Terence
chooses
Bud
not to
Crawford
fight
dominated
David
Errol
Benavidez,
Spence Jr.
the
a couple of
undefeated
weeks ago,
WBC
it's like he's
interim
playing
super
chess with the
middleweight
entire
champion.
boxing landscape.
Even though
He's
Crawford
like the
would be
Pied
the
Piper. Let's
underdog,
not forget the
the
verbal
fight
jousting with
would
Jermell
attract
Charlo
huge
during the
media
Spence
attention
fight.
and generate...
Boy boxing fight hype. I just want to ask you, what do you think about Terence Crawford? What do we think about Terence Crawford's performance, and do you want to get a fight with him?
If the money is right, I mean,
$100 million. I heard Turkey offered you a big money already.
Massive money, making it one of the biggest boxing events right now. However, there are more issues than just weight and money. One major challenge is Canelo's relationship with Turki Al-Sheikh, a powerful figure in boxing. Over the past year, Al-Sheikh has poured huge amounts of money into the sport, but his friendship with Canelo has been strained. The problem started because Canelo refused to fight Benavidez. This led to a public feud, with Al-Sheikh criticizing Canelo on social media for avoiding the fight. Despite their disagreement, money has a way of fixing problems in boxing. Canelo is already one of the richest athletes in the sport, with enough wealth for generations of his family. However, he is both a businessman and a fighter. If the financial offer for a fight with Crawford is big enough, Canelo may be willing to set aside his conflict with Al-Sheikh to make it happen. Interestingly, Bivol has said many times that he is willing to move down to 168 lbs for the rematch. He wants to prove that his victory wasn't just because he was bigger than Canelo. If Bivol moves down to super middleweight to fight Canelo, the fight would become even more important. However, Bivol is currently preparing to fight Artur Beterbiev in October for a light heavyweight unification title fight, which makes the timing for a rematch with Canelo uncertain. Another option for Canelo is to continue defending his super middleweight titles against younger, undefeated fighters. Boxers like Christian Mbili and Diego Pacheco are both highly ranked in the super middleweight division and could give Canelo fresh challenges. Mbili, in particular, is known for his aggressive and action-packed fighting style, which could make for an exciting match. However, neither Mbili nor Pacheco is seen as a serious threat to take Canelo's titles. Even with these options, it's clear that a fight with Crawford is the most exciting. The financial rewards would be huge, and it would likely be one of
the biggest boxing events in recent history. For Canelo, this fight would be a chance to prove his critics wrong. Many believe he has been avoiding the toughest opponents in recent years.
For Crawford, it's a chance to show he can compete and maybe even win against one of the greatest fighters in the sport, despite being smaller in size. The details of the fight still need to be worked out, especially the weight limit. Canelo usually fights at 168 lbs, while Crawford's last fight was at 147 lbs. A catch weight, a weight in between, seems like the best solution, but the exact number would need to be negotiated. Both fighters would also need to agree on how the prize money is split. Since Canelo is the bigger star and attracts more viewers, he would likely receive the larger share of the money. Canelo hasn't won by knockout since stopping Caleb Plant in the 11th round back in November 2021. This was his 5th fight in a row that went the full distance. Some fans are starting to wonder if he has lost some of his knockout power, though his loyal supporters still believe in him. While Canelo's inability to finish Berlanga didn't bother his fans much, it did spark new discussions about his future opponents. After the fight, during the post-fight press conference, Canelo was asked about facing Crawford. At first he refused to answer, which made it seem like he was still not interested in the fight. But behind the scenes, something was changing well. As it turns out, the financial offer for a Crawford fight has increased greatly. We remember that Canelo was criticized for the amount of money he was asking for this fight. And it was one reason that His Excellency and even Oscar La Hoya saw it as unrealistic. But it seems after what Canelo displayed, after Berlanga team Crawford and the Saudis saw Canelo putting on a lower performance, man.
Terence Crawford, with that intense gaze of his, throws down the gauntlet at Gervonta Tank Davis. It was pure fireworks.
Even though Crawford has achieved
Crawford didn't waste a breath.
Canelo has
he wanted
downplayed
Davis
the fight,
in the ring.
saying
Any
he wouldn't get
anticipation
much
building?
credit for
Picture the
beating a
chaos that could
smaller
unfold.
opponent. Canelo fights at 168 lbs, while Crawford last fought at 147 lbs. Because of this, Canelo sees Crawford as someone who doesn't match his size and power. At first, Canelo completely rejected the idea of fighting Crawford. He even suggested that Crawford should fight Teofimo Lopez first, which many people saw as a way, but Crawford refused to back down. As more fans and boxing experts started calling for the fight, the pressure on Canelo increased. Crawford kept challenging him, and demand for the fight continued to grow. Things got even more interesting after Canelo's recent fight against Edgar Berlanga. Many expected Canelo to win easily, as Berlanga, though undefeated, was considered an underdog and not at Canelo's level. However, Berlanga surprised everyone with his toughness and determination. The fight started as expected, with Canelo in control. In the third round, he landed a strong left hook that knocked Berlanga to the ground. At that moment, it seemed like the fight would end quickly. But Berlanga had other plans. He got up, hit his gloves together in frustration, and kept fighting. Although Canelo easily won on the scorecards, Berlanga lasted all 12 rounds, which surprised many people. The fight ended in a majority decision, with the judges heavily favoring Canelo. He landed nearly 50% of his power punches, showing his dominance. However, the fact that he couldn't knock Berlanga out raised some questions. At 36 years old, Terence Crawford has made it clear that he only wants fights that will be remembered in history. Right now, the biggest possible fight for him is against Saul Canelo Alvarez. Crawford has been interested in this fight for months, and Canelo also sees it as a chance to prove he is one of the best fighters of this time. With strong support behind him, it looks like Crawford has finally convinced Canelo to agree to the fight. Crawford recently won a huge fight that changed his career when he dominated Errol Spence Jr. This victory united the welterweight division and secured his place in boxing history. In that fight, Crawford, also known as Bud, showed why he is special. From the very first round, it was clear that Spence, who was once seen as his biggest challenge, was no match for him. Crawford's accuracy, power, and intelligence in the ring were too much for Spence. He won every round and stopped Spence, in the ninth becoming the first male boxer in history to remain undefeated in 2 divisions under the 4-belt system. Canelo hasn't won by knockout since stopping Caleb Plant in the 11th round back in November 2021. This was his 5th fight in a row that went the full distance. Some fans are starting to wonder if he has lost some of his knockout power, though his loyal supporters still believe in him. While Canelo's inability to finish Berlanga didn't bother his fans much, it did spark new discussions about his future opponents. After the fight, during the post-fight press conference, Canelo was asked about facing Crawford. At first he refused to answer, which made it seem like he was still not interested in the fight.